Second city, but first in every team. Champion town, got trophies and them rings. Bulls on tap, we coming for everything. Tap sports, we coming for everything. It's apparent, nobody talking better than Melissa and Derek. They hate to compare it. Us and women's laced in the marriage, forever we cherish. Got opinions on the Bulls, who better to share it? I know you wish you can be cool as we foolishly and never be number one against our legends 2 and 3. Don't act like y'all don't know who you hear, who you see. Bulls on tap sports. Y'all know who we be, for real, word.
What's up, Bulls Nation? You are now locked into another episode of Bulls on Tap, presented to you by On Tap Sports Network. I'm your host, Derek. As always, I'm here kicking it with my co-host, Miss Melissa. Missy, what's going on?
Hey, can't even take it. What's up, gang? I'm so happy to be here to talk our lovely Bulls. How are you guys doing?
We're joined by On Tap Sports writer for the Bulls on Tap section, my guy Morris. What's good, man?
It's appropriate the Groundhog's Day was Sunday because this is very much a groundhog conversation I think we're about to have. So I'm here. That's all I can say.
Went up to Steven in the comments. He said, "Let's get it." And then, after Melissa's reaction,
you came to the right place, Steven, man. We about to get into this.
Daniel Burry Sports Highlight was up as well. Yeah, it's the trade deadline day, and the Bulls made one trade, which was sending Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings and getting back Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and
Trey Jones.
The rights back to their pick this year from the Spurs. How are we feeling about that one?
I'll let me go for. I want to give Missy some time to really get the knobs straightened out. I know a lot of people have different feelings, and it's somewhat of a polarizing deal, right? There's an analogy I've been going with this. So I'll just reiterate it. I think what the Bulls did in that Zach LaVine trade is comparable to doing a bankruptcy deal. Is it a good deal in the absolute sense? No. But for the situation in the context where this Bulls franchise was at, for struggling for so many seasons to try to trade Zach, that's kind of where it's at. It's not a wonderful deal, but to at least get control of that pick back, it is something I don't think you can discount that. But overall, it's nothing to be happy about or celebrate because it shouldn't have came to that. But that's also I think it speaks to the larger pattern of behavior of this current Chicago Bulls front office, led by our turn Scott Shovis, Mark Eversley, where understanding opportunity and the timing of opportunity, it just seems that has not they haven't figured that out yet after almost 5 seasons.
Okay, obviously I was crashing out just a little bit because I wasn't quite very happy with the return that we got on Zach. I know that we've been having trouble moving him off forever, but it stunk. We didn't get anything. I don't think we got our value back for him. And if we didn't have Acme as the people that are dealing with everything, I would maybe not feel as upset. But knowing that and the history of their negotiation skills from what we can see from the outside and what we hear from insiders and so forth, I probably wouldn't be as upset if it wasn't AK and Mark Eversley doing all the dealings here. I do feel like we probably could have gotten more for it just because Zach's been playing at all-star level this year. So and the fact that we got guards back in the deal and it was possibility that maybe, okay, we're going to, use them as trade assets and they're still here on the roster. Like none of it really makes sense. And we shouldn't have been here in the first place. Just like you said, Morris, we're just getting our pick back and now we have control over it. But we shouldn't have even been here at this point to begin with. So that's how I feel about everything with the Zach trade. It's great that we offloaded his contract, but at the same time, like that was like one of our most valuable pieces. So it's just, I have zero confidence at this point.
Shout out to Ramina, who says Zach trade sucked. Oh, cover your ears, Mina.
Yeah. I want so I tweeted this out earlier. I do intend to really stick with this. Like I have like at this point, I have to say straight up, like what AK did in that press conference today is probably one of the most disastrous like Chicago Bulls events, let alone like statements of like from a front office manager I've seen as a Bulls fan in my entire lifetime. And one of the things I tweeted, like I feel that we're at a point where we have to start looking at the receipts of this entire front office's track record, right? So one of the things I just dropped like as a tweet thread of the history, like in our writing of Bulls on Tap. I mean, Zach LaVine has been dangled out into the trade market for years. And it's a complete failure, honestly, that again, this LaVine deal came to what it had to come to. I mean, we wrote back in November 2020 at Bulls on Tap that, you know, the Dallas Mavericks had interest in Zach LaVine. Two years later, December 2022, right? The Sacramento Kings had interest in Zach LaVine. And I mean, I'm not going into detail about what the deal was or whatever it is we reported. We had the Knicks in 22 having interest in Zach LaVine, and then the Knicks again in 2023. You know, it's just like over the previous offseason, you know, last summer with the AC deal that came 2 seasons too late. Like that's all this Zach LaVine thing is. It's reactionary mismanagement by the front office. And this is what we, I guess, get to hang our hats on. It's like a bunch of salary filler, and the fact that we get our pick back that we traded away to make a run at the play-in, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things. We shouldn't be surprised by this. And it's like, I don't even know what to honestly say about it anymore because at the beginning of the season, I said, like, you know, AK was going to be the person who's going to shoulder the whole blame for this season because of what he didn't accomplish in the previous offseason. And it's getting to the point now where it's like, I don't even know if I want to talk about AK much longer beyond today. This is going to be Michael Reinsdorf. And I'm just like, if we had cameraman zoom in on me, like, I'm looking at you, Michael Reinsdorf. Like, what are you going to do about this? Because this is just incompetence on the biggest stage possible, because I think there's a lot of people that's also seeing that quote going around from Jamal Collier about this this idea that AK is like, instead of like getting superstars on his roster, he's just gonna like go build a team of like 9-10 good players, and that's gonna be how we're gonna get good. Like that is garbage. And I realized like I went way off. Like I told myself, I looked at myself in the mirror, I said, Morris, don't go off. But I realized I just went off. So I'm gonna stop talking right now because that's like I'm doing everything I can to compose myself. But this is garbage. This is garbage.
So I did not love the deal, but I didn't hate it. And that's because of the fact, you know, we did get offers for him in like 22, but at that time they were thinking, hey, Lonzo's going to come back and we're really going to make a run at this. So they didn't trade Zach. Then last season, you know, Zach kind of looked like he was over it, with like pulling away from the media person, you know, the surgery, and then it being out there that he's been on the trade market for how long, it becomes hard to move Zach, where they thought, hey, the Bulls are going to have to attach another first, like that Portland first that we're holding on to. They thought we would have to throw that into a deal just to move off of Zach. So with how, you know, the other front offices are looking at AK, they're like, no, we're not giving you any picks for Zach. But ultimately, we were able to get our pick back, which, lifts the protection that would have been top 8 in 26 and top 8 in 27 if the pick didn't convey. So we have full control of our draft picks now. That's like the best takeaway from that deal. Herter, Collins trade, like, I was hoping they could package them with Vooch or do some other deal to get them out of here because we don't need them.
Yeah,
they're not good.
A competent, motivated front office would have rerouted all of that. Like, none of these dudes should be still on this roster. Definitely Trey Jones of all of them. Like, the fact that we have like 6 point guards now it's insanity. It's a joke.
The good thing is Trey Jones expires after this season, and Collins and Herter expire after next season. So we didn't take long-term money back.
Yeah, but we're just expecting like the bare minimum. Like, it shouldn't even have to. That shouldn't even be part of the conversation. Like, good thing is that they're only here till next year. No, we probably shouldn't have taken them in the first place. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is how low the bar is for us.
Ramita said he's going to build a team of strictly guards. We're here already.
I mean, that's already the roster.
That's where we're at now, sadly.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't understand the report of us maybe wanting to keep Trey Jones after this season because honestly, what the fuck for? Like, we have guards. You just re-signed Lonzo to an extension, which I thought was a good deal because it's a 1+1 for $10 million with a team option on the second year. You let him like be the vet for the young guys, and I don't know, you could potentially get more for him at the trade deadline next season after teams see, okay, he is healthy and he can still play his game, and he's done it for now a year and a half. So maybe you can get draft compensation without taking back the long-term money, which is what was reported that they were offered like picks for Alonzo, but we would have had to take on a bad contract.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I don't know what AK expects he was going to get in the deal. That's just standard operating procedure. If you desire to make a trade, make a deal happen where you're going to get back picks, it's going to be that you're getting, like, the picks are a compensation for something that you're taking off of the hands of the team that they don't want. It's not like you don't get the best of both worlds. It's not like I just get to go over to the Lakers and say, hey, give me all your first round picks and Dalton Connect, and then you just can have Torrey Craig. Like, that's not how it works. Like it has to be like, there has to be a mutual meeting of the minds about what is the price of the deal, what is the value that we're going to exchange in this. And honestly, this is another receipt to be pulled up on AK, right? And we ran this in the tasting flight. That that clip that went around for a little bit about how AK's peers view him, that's a major red flag. And I think we have to call that into the visibility of, like, why is it AK can't get deals done? It takes two to tango, so to speak, right? Like, if the other side of the deal doesn't respect the person they're going to deal with, deals are not going to happen. AK today fumbled Nikola Vucevic, who was completely untradeable like 5-6 months ago. I wrote about the fact that, like, it was like a pie in the sky dream. Like, if somehow Vooch could play good enough this season to become tradable again. And he exceeded that. He held up his end of the bargain. And AK foolishly, according to reports, is setting a price tag of a first-round pick. No GM in this league, in the NBA, is going to surrender a first-round pick for a 34-year-old formerly washed center. Because if they did, they'd get fired immediately. Like, AK is in a tunnel that is not helping his cause and certainly not helping this franchise. Like, you can set prices, you can be aggressive in negotiations, but if it's not real, people aren't going to take you seriously. And honestly, the whole report of like, oh, well, it'll be better opportunities in the summer, I'm not buying that, because the same people who said, nah, I'm good, AK, today is going to be the same people who say, AK, I'm not going to listen to you say garbage. Like, you can have this $5. You keep asking me for $20, I'm going to hang up the phone. Like, that's where it's at. The guy has not learned any lessons. I don't know if he's building rapport with his peers, and it's pretty clear like his peers don't respect him either. So it's like, again, Michael Reinsdorf, what are you doing about this today? How are you feeling about this? Like, we can't keep talking about AK anymore because AK might just not be up for the job. Like, I think that's just where it's at this point.
My question is, do you think that Michael Reinsdorf cares?
No, but you know what? Let me offer this story, right? So a long time ago, I was assistant manager in a retail store, and like any retail manager, right? You have your shift. Customers come in. Sometimes like something happens, they don't like it. It doesn't get something messed up, and then the customer, what's the customer do? The customer's like, I need to see the manager. And then me, assistant manager, I gotta walk over there, I gotta listen to it. I might be able to solve the problem, I might not. I at least took the responsibility of like, okay, if there's this problem, I'm responsible. I gotta go fix it. I gotta solve it. And I might make a mistake in that, but I gotta learn something from it. AK is, I'm gonna put AK in that assistant manager spot for what he's responsible for. I haven't seen him like say something to the effect of, okay, I'm gonna fix it, or show that he's learned something to be able to fix it. And so when that happens, right, is like, you can't keep talking to the assistant manager anymore. At some point, you got to talk to the big store manager. That's where we're at. I'm not saying that like Reinsdorf is going to fix something or he has the capability, but that's where the spotlight is. It logically has to go to that at this point, because it's been 5 years of AK, and every press conference, and I've watched the last 2 or 3 of them, it's, we're not where we need to be. I need to change. We're going to look at things for the next 30 days, 30 games. Then we're going to figure it out. We're going to draft, and we're going to free agency, and then we're going to get better, blah, 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 blah. And then what do we get? We get another 10 seed. Like, it can't be like.
We're the 10 seed now.
It's kind of interesting because like 2 pressers ago, he actually was starting to kind of admit that, like, yeah, it's not working. And then now, fast forward to today, it's, oh, yeah, we need another 30 more days to see, he's actually mentioning play-ins and playoffs. Like, it is completely inconsistent. Like, the message is inconsistent. We got rid of Zach on a terrible deal, in my opinion. And now you're talking about play-ins and playoffs. Like, you want to be, sorry with the word, but competitive, and you just traded Zach. Like, what are we doing? It just doesn't, the messaging is completely mixed all over the place, up and down. It's insane. Like,
yeah, I think that's a great point, because I won't go so far as to say that like AK doesn't know how to communicate or anything. I think his messaging is just like you said, it's mixed messaging, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he's savvy enough to put some words together that sound good in public. But when the words don't connect to the action, that tells you everything you need to know. You can't keep, like, the words don't mean anything anymore.
The new buzzword is groundwork.
I think it's 30. The buzzwords are 30 days. Like, I'm tired of hearing about 30 days, 30 days, this, 30 days. He said that like 4 or 5 times in the press conference.
Yeah.
Like, we got to wait 30 days to see where we're at. We'll know in 30 days. We'll know if we're going to make the playoffs or play-ins. Yeah, no. Yes, in 30 days. Everything in 30 days. Like, what do you still need to learn in 30 days that you haven't already learned throughout the last at least 3 years? You still need another 30 days to figure it out.
Yeah, and that too, like that actually, and then from what I took away from the press conference, he had like AK in general. Like, when I think about all the press conferences he's done, he definitely has like patterns of words that he always sort of like defaults to. It's like his hot button or whatever. And the thing with him always is like, he's always trying to frame these things like, oh, well, I don't have all the answers, so I need to go find out more. Again, 5th season, bro. Like, what you still trying to find out after 5 seasons? And you are a basketball executive. I assumed that you knew something about basketball before you got the job. So, like, how much learning do you still need on the job to do the job?
I I disagree with you, Morris, that he knows how to communicate. He does not. Like
No, I'm being gracious. I'm just saying. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Like he might not, but I'm just trying to like at least put a balanced point of view out there. But to at least thought exercise, maybe he can. I don't know.
What I took away from this 30 days is like he's saying we had 30 days to see if this team's going to make play-in or playoffs. We are 10th, which is in the play-in. Naturally, yes, 30 days would determine if we're going to make the play-in or the playoff. That's some shit he just should not have said. I mean, because it's a given. The next 30 games will determine if we're in the play-in or the playoff. Yeah. The main focus should be we have our pick back. Now, if you're saying, yeah, we could still make the play-in or playoff because we're going to see if Modest and Ayo and Kobe, the young guys, play well enough the rest of the season to get us there. I'm not going to say, hey, y'all have to go out there and suck, because that's not good development for the young guys. But just saying, yeah, we got our pick back, but the next 30 days is going to determine whether we make the playoff or the play-in. No shit. Like, you could have left that completely out of your press conference. There was no reason to reference 30 days in the play-in or the playoffs. It's just bad communication.
Yeah, and I saw something where like he even, I think not he, but Casey Johnson helped walk back that statement to some degree. But I mean, honestly, you know, the saying goes like when somebody shows you who they are, you believe it. And I mean, to be talking about playing and playoffs when you just traded all three. You know, basically, you trade all the best players you were able to cobble together in this mid roster for the past 5 years to receive nothing that improves the roster, and you think you still should be talking about that. That tells you everything that you need to know about it. Like, I think I just think he is a person who is in tunnel vision instead of having real vision. Like, that's the only vision AK has demonstrated for the past 5 seasons is that he has tunnel vision instead of executive vision.
I mean, like I said, I'm not upset because the phrase, if you knew better, you do better. We knew who this motherfucker was. Like, we knew. When the report came out is the Bulls probably won't make any more moves. It's like, sounds like AK. we knew what this was.
When they actually moved Zach, I was somewhat slightly encouraged because it to me was like, okay, even though I'm not happy with the deal, you're somewhat choosing a direction. So I think it was like that. Not that I had hope because there's already history, but you know, I was a little bit more on the positive side that okay, maybe something's gonna happen differently. But silly me. The press conference definitely didn't help. It was like it's the attitude too that he had in the press conference. He has this kind of like he's kind of like snarky, you know, like you can't just humbly admit that you stink. Like you're talking about being satisfied with it and how you like your guys, and you know we're gonna see how it is, and then we'll figure it out in the off season. Like how much there's like zero urgency. Again, this is year 3 with this somewhat same roster until we finally got rid of AC, DeMar, and Zach just most recently. Like, where is the urgency?
You know, it's probably the most damning. Like you say, you can't humbly admit that you suck. But if the report that Callie wrote, where he says that AK didn't pull the trigger on a Vooch trade because he thinks he can get more this summer, and he does not feel that having Vooch on the roster affects whether we make the play-in or not. He humbly admitted Vooch is trash. And
pretty much, yeah.
It's like, now what do you think after that came out that you're going to get for Vooch?
Yeah.
It's a continuation of the Bulls overvaluing their players, which is why they could not trade Zach for 2 years that they've been trying to. They
Yeah.
couldn't move Vooch. They had 7 teams interested in Kobe, and they did nothing because of this magic price tag that AK has in his empty ass head.
Yeah. I'll be matter of fact, Kobe White should be on the New York Knicks today because the way the report came out, I forgot who, like it escapes me at the moment who reported that. But the mere fact that, oh no, that was a Cali report, right? So Cali, like I had to chime in on that because the way the Cali framed it, it was somewhat abstract or like vague in the sense of like, oh, the New York Knicks have inquired about 7 Bulls backcourt players, however many. Like if anybody that gets into sort of the business side of basketball, I mean, the thing about the Knicks, and I live in New York for context, the Knicks are like the Knicks have an agency relationship the same way that like Clutch is the de facto shop for the Lakers and LeBron. Like it's an agency called CAA and represents all the major stars of the Knicks. Also represents Kobe White. I tend to think, and this is all my speculation, this is my tinfoil like view of it. The Knicks had a conversation today with the Bulls about Kobe White, and somehow or another, AK didn't make that deal. When in fact, that should have been the easiest deal to make because you already have a partner who's in with Kobe's representation. Like at some point, like like the questions that I keep coming back to that are practical, I guess, as far as AK's future and like his ability to do this job is like, what kind of relationships do you have, AK? Like, how come you can't keep, like, to me, it's like, it's going to keep coming back to like, why aren't you getting these deals done? And do the people that you should be doing these deals with, do they truly want to do business with you? Because it just seems like it's not happening. And, you know, I've never been a professional. I've never been a EVP of basketball operations, but I do know how relationships work. At least I do know how to negotiate things, and it just seems like for some reason AK is not like he can't get the negotiation wheel turning.
I mean, yeah, I saw the report that said that the Knicks were interested in several Bulls backcourt players. You're not interested in Javon Carter. You're not interested in Dalen Terry.
Nope.
You're not interested in Josh Giddey. That leaves Kobe and Ayo. And they're both going to be due for an extension after next season. So you kind of want to start to choose who would I keep between these two. And if you were getting serious offers from several different teams for Kobe White, who was probably our best trade asset at the very moment because he's on a cheap contract, and teams need scorers. Like Bill Russell said, the name of the game is putting the ball through the basket. Like you have to score. So like a team like the Knicks or the Magic, who definitely needs scoring, probably inquired about Kobe. Why wouldn't you get a deal done? You already have 27,000 guards on the damn roster.
And I would also be willing to bet between the Magic and the Knicks. The Knicks have the stronger motivation anyway because we know who coaches the Knicks. We know they need depth. Kobe, even though Brunson is there and Brunson isn't going anywhere, there's a lot of value I could see the Knicks having with Kobe on that roster for the eventual moment where Brunson's going to go down for some reason. It's going to happen. We know it's going to happen because that's how Tips coaches, unfortunately. So, AK, like my question really, like the other question I continue to think about AK is like, does he have the ability, just the human ability of displaying any kind of empathy? And I mean that in the most textbook sense, not sympathy, but empathy in the sense of like, you have the ability to actually put yourself in somebody else's shoes and think outside of yourself, because that's what it takes to make a negotiation happen. Like you have to know that You have to know what the goals and the motivations and what the other side wants in order to supply that to them. If it's all about you and that's all you keep trying to push, you're never going to get a deal done. And to me, again, like I'm no EVP of basketball ops, but I can at least like logically put together a case of like, oh, the Knicks called me asking about Kobe White. I probably should think about like, why do they want Kobe White? And then let me make sure I get my words together to say some stuff so we get this deal done. Like the deal making aspect of this guy is at all-time low.
Yeah. I mean, we re-signed Lonzo. After the season, you're going to have to determine whether or not you're going to re-sign Giddey.
Mm-hmm.
Then who's going to get the extension between Kobe and Ayo? You're talking about maybe we want to keep Trey Jones. How many guards are we going to have still jammed on this roster? Like, it's a log jam of guards. And oh man, I hate AK because he made me feel sorry for Billy Donovan. That's how bad AK has been with this, because it's his fault that Billy has to play all these damn 4-guard lineups, because AK is the one making the roster and it's imbalanced as hell. I mean, did Billy come in with a repetition of playing like 3-guard lineups? Yes, but when you have to play Ayo Dosunmu at power forward starting, which goes back to playing Javonte Green at power forward, Caruso at power forward, because your front office won't go get you a damn power forward.
Yeah. You know, if there's just a simple basketball, just purely a basketball question I would want to ask AK, I would truly want to ask him, like, what do you consider to be the ideal power forward? Because in his entire history running Bulls, they've been really weird choices about that. That position in particular has been weird. Like, because we got to go back and think about it. Like, when he traded for Vooch, who came along with that Vooch trade? Daniel Tice. And then, we were running like this Daniel Tice Vooch lineup for a while, right? Remember that? Then the season where he goes and gets DeMar, then he goes and gets Alize Johnson and goes and gets the carcass of Tristan Thompson. Like, it just like it just seems like he does not value that position at all. And it's just kind of like anybody can have that position in his roster choices. So like you're right, Derek. I completely agree with you. There's only so much you can hit Billy when like the power forwards that AK has chosen over this entire regime of his. It's just been like just random and weak. Like, he's made a lot of weak choices in that position.
Yo, shout out to Samity. He says he's going to buy me some handy for me. For me to have said that, just had him shook.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got these guys who aren't even power forwards, like Alize Johnson. He's not even a damn NBA player.
No, he's out of the league now.
Yeah, like it's not even an NBA player. And that's after trying to force Pat to be a starting power forward, when clearly Pat is way more comfortable off the bench and probably at the 3 off the bench. Because I think he's been playing the 3 while him and Modest are in the game together.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you have against the 4 spot?
Yeah, I mean, even last season, like, let's not forget. I mean, Vooch became a power forward last season. Let's not forget about that Drummond-Vooch combination.
My goodness.
The funny thing is Jalen Smith is a power forward, yet you have him backing up Vooch at center and still not going out to get an actual power forward. It's like, why does everybody play out of their position on this team?
Honestly, everything's just bad. I've been quiet for a long time. I have nothing to contribute to the conversation because everything's just bad. Like, the roster construction stinks. AK stinks. Ownership stinks.
Actually, I want to go back to something because you start touching on Lonzo's extension. I think there's an important nuance in there as it relates to Giddey also. I'll just offer my opinion on it. I think the Lonzo extension in isolation is a good thing for him because it's an amazing basketball story, and I think just the sheer caliber of basketball he's played this season, he deserves that. I don't want to take away from that. Where it's problematic, and really the AK presser has sort of revealed his intentions, like Lonzo's being extended because AK is not still to this day committing to a rebuild. AK thinks he has something to go win, and that's why he's on there. But then also what's concerning about it, I found in there was an article that was published a few days ago on The Athletic by John Hollinger. And John Hollinger is a good follow. He's a good person to read because he's a former NBA front office executive. I think he gives a lot of great perspective on what really goes into that responsibility and the kind of things that a front office executive is thinking about. And I think we all need it, honestly, after today. We need to be able to actually understand what executives should be doing because I don't think we're getting the right example set anymore. But there's an important point, and again, receipts. This is attached to Bulls on Tap, live stream there we got right now. If you look at the math of what happened after that exact trade happened, I'm just going to paraphrase him or read it for a quick second. What happened when the Bulls made this Zach deal? $10 million came off the cap next season. What is Zoe's extension value? $10 million. Okay, and according to Hollinger, the Bulls are looking at $30 million in cap space for cap room coming into next summer, and that can quickly be spent on two people if the Bulls so choose to do so. And they've already done one because one of them is Lonzo Ball. The other would be Josh Giddey. I personally believe that no imagination, I have no expectation that the Bulls are going to go through what I think should be a proper market setting process with Josh Giddey's extension and go let the market determine. I think that entire cap, that $30 million, that's already earmarked for Lonzo Ball and Josh Giddey. And that could be $30 million that could be going to actually improve this roster. It's going to be $30 million for continuity. That's what's about to happen.
I'm upset about that theory of Josh Giddey just getting handed that. I'm actually okay with the Zoe re-signing. I thought that was a great value deal, as I had spoken about previously, and because of the fact that it's team option. I think that with the way that the roster set up, even though we have 1,000 guards, I think his veteran presence is enough value for me. He's the only one left with any IQ, any experience. That his veteran presence is extremely important. So I think, me personally, I think that one was definitely worth it. I have zero regrets on that one, especially with the fact that it's team option. At the very minimum, you can trade him as an asset. But I actually was okay with the Zoe thing, just again because it's AK and knowing his inabilities and incompetencies. I just at least let the team have some stability with that.
Yeah.
Great value.
Yeah. And again, I think the Zoe, in isolation, I won't be real clear. I'm not criticizing the Zoe deal at all. I think it's he deserves it and he earned that. When you connect the bigger picture dots, though, I think there's a bigger problem at hand with AK because also that's connect the dots with what KC was saying in his reporting about how those Lonzo Ball trade talks were going, right? Bulls had draft capital offered to them, but they didn't want to take back long money. Why don't they want to take back long money? It's because if they take back the long money, they don't get to give Josh Giddey long money. Mm-hmm. And they obviously care more about giving Josh Giddey long money than taking back draft capital that could actually help the long-term competitive nature, just actually grow assets for this franchise. I just fundamentally believe this. Again, this is my speculation. 2 times now, AK has had the opportunity to either choose draft capital or Josh Giddey. Happened last summer. He could have had the 13th pick from the Sacramento Kings, chose Josh Giddey instead when he decided to send AC there. And I think what we're going to see in history in a couple more months is AK could have had some amount of picks for Lonzo Ball, but instead he decided to keep Lonzo so we can also extend Giddey.
So local Bulls fan says crazy how AK let the market decide Io's value, but was willing to jump the gun for P. Will and Vooch.
Say it. Say it.
Steven says
Say it.
inabilities and incompetencies. Great story title for the chapters of Bulls Hoops. Embraces, you got to put pieces around Lonzo. So my stance on Giddey has kind of changed. Like, I don't mind him being here because seeing him out there with Modest and Zoe at the same time has been pretty good. Should he get 30 million? Hell no. Like, let the market decide his value. He's a restricted free agent. Don't just say, all right, here's 30 million. That's what you wanted. There you go. Because for what? I mean, yes, he's 23. He can still improve. He's played better as of late. And I think he is valuable to have on the court with Modest. But you got to pick that direction. Like, are you going to have this 30 million in cap space and just throw it at Giddey, or are you trying to let him ride out the restricted free agency while you see if you can move Vooch or Kobe or, Herter and Collins before the season and before you sign Giddey? Or are you just immediately the first day, which AK has known for doing, is just sign Giddey to an extension and just throw a bunch of money at him to where we're stuck in some shit like 90 million in 5 years with P. Will? It's like, why didn't, and then you come out the next season and say, we're open to trading Patrick after you just gave him a 5-year, 90 million extension. You didn't even get through the whole damn season of that deal and then be like, yeah, we're open to trading him.
Yeah.
That means you should not have signed him to that.
I mean, in retrospect, it's the exact same thing he did with Zach. And the nuance I would say there, right, is like Zach deserved his max. I've never been a person that argued against Zach LaVine's max extension. He earned it. He deserved it. I think where AK fell short and missed the mark was, again, in the timing and the market setting aspects of it. The people skills of it. Like, because there was a demonstrated market pretty quickly for Zach LaVine after he received that max. And AK, you can make the case perhaps, AK wanted to like try to see what he could get with Zach, but at the same time, like, the trade clamor, the trade interest in Zach, really, it materialized after that first season where we had the half season of being the 1 seed. Like, to me, like, I would grill, if I had opportunity to grill AK, I would be like, dude, at what point did you really decide like you didn't want Zach LaVine anymore? Because whenever that point was, that was the point you needed to trade him. It wasn't like doing all this like dry snitching about him and trying to see, what how valuable is he? Like, at some point you got to decide what you're willing to get for him and go get it. Like, you can't do all this fake analytical guy stuff constantly. And I think that's part of the problem why he keeps falling short in these deal opportunities, because it's always about like, oh, I need to learn more, I need to find out more. Like, no, you need to make a decision. You either make a decision or you don't. Like, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Kobe should have been gone today. And
100%.
That's nothing against Kobe. But he is the only holdover left from the Garpax era. And clearly, AK is like, yeah, let's get these Garpax guys out of here, which is why he was trying to get rid of Zach. If the decision is to extend Kobe or Io, which one did he draft? Io. So why not get what you could get for Kobe, where a team would have 2 playoff runs with him, instead of you waiting for the summer and then now there's only 1 playoff run before they have to re-sign him.
Yeah. I might raise the ante on that and say, really, Kobe should have been traded last summer. Once you decided that DeMar wasn't going to be there anymore, and then you were also going to go so far as to then go get Giddey, there was no place for Kobe to like continue on the trajectory that he had already demonstrated the previous season, because a lot of what made Kobe successful last year was being able to play off of DeMar once Zach was out of the picture. Like that was an actual winning formula that was working. And that's a reference to there was that the Jamal Collier ESPN piece from over the summer that just laid out all like the trashing of Zach and all the stuff that was going behind the scenes of the front office to even get to Giddey, where like they, from the front office's standpoint, I'm just paraphrasing what that was. Like the whole reason why Giddey had to come here is because they needed to get back to that 2021 magic with DeMar, and we needed a new Lonzo Ball, basically. Giddey's supposed to be the Lonzo Ball replacement, but you go and extend Lonzo Ball. Just look at the logic of that. If he's supposed to replace Lonzo Ball, but he is basically not done that. He's not qualified to do that. So you gotta go extend him. You probably shouldn't be keeping Giddey either. Like, why would you talk like Giddey should have been traded today, as far as I'm concerned, as well. Because you got your Lonzo Ball. You literally got Lonzo Ball. And you were talking about, we need to go find Lonzo Ball light. As if that's even like that wasn't even a rational compensation. Like that's when we should have known for sure. There's no like bringing that man's brain back, because if you think Lonzo Ball and Josh Giddey are anywhere on the same tier of basketball, I gotta understand what do you ingest on a daily basis, because something is off in your body chemistry to make that conclusion.
Yeah, nothing is logical. I'm just like so quiet because I have nothing to say. Like none of it makes sense. And I feel like I've been saying that the last like 6 episodes. Nothing makes sense. Everything's confusing. Nothing is consistent. It's just, I don't understand. I don't understand. There's nothing to understand because he doesn't even understand. So I can't, it's kind of useless to even try and make logic of or sense of any of this, because I know he doesn't know what he's doing either. And that was made very evident by today's press conference. If you didn't already understand that the last 2, like today was the clearest indication of that.
Yeah.
Shout out to our guy Matt Peck in the comments. He said he just got home, opened YouTube to work on clips from today's show. So y'all were live. Stay strong, Bulls Nation. This team doesn't deserve us. Much love, Mo, Briscoe, and Melissa. Keep doing your thing. Yeah. Appreciate you for coming in, Matt. It was weird talking about the idiocy that is AK. And again, I'm going to ask this question. What the hell does Mark Eversley do? We're just AK. Eversley is the general manager. And we don't hear shit from him.
I just saw a clip of him at that one game. I forgot which one it was. But other than that, you haven't heard or seen anything from him or about him in at least a year.
I mean, the clip of him checking his phone during the game, looking disinterested as hell.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that clip. Yeah, I was about to screen grab that because it looked like he was like doing like some old school Candy Crush or something on his phone. Yeah. Like, ain't you supposed to be working, dude?
Yep. I said he was looking on Grubhub to see what he was going to pick up on the way home.
Oh man, no. Somebody says Mark Eversley is that relative that shows up to all the family events but does not bring any food or drinks.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, he shows up. Don't bring nothing, but shows up hungry all the time. I know that person. Yes.
Logan Bull says he's a glorified towel boy.
He didn't even do that though.
Brent says, I've seen that man one time. What the hell does he do? That's what I'm asking. Because it's like he's just there.
Yeah, I'm gonna age myself for a little bit. I think truth be told, Mark Eversley is really like the modern Al Bundy. Like he was a shoe salesman. and he's in Chicago now. He is Al Bundy, actually. That's really what he is.
That is true. He was supposed to be this great relations between players because he worked at Nike.
He's really up in, he threw 4 touchdowns 20 years ago, and he's still reliving that glory.
Sammy just says the Celtics got Torrey Craig. I'm sure for nothing because we couldn't trade Torrey Craig. We just
I know the
waived
fact
him.
that we had to waive him.
So, see, there it is right there, right? If I'm going to just say this, like, I think if AK had a proper standing among his peers, you wouldn't have to waive Torrey Craig. You would have made a deal with Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens would have been like, yeah, it's all good, bro. Here, take this second. Talk to you later. But it's not like that. It's like, oh, I have to think and process more. I have to process it. Let me go and look at my stuff and figure out in 30 games what to do. Blah, 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 blah.
Brad
Yeah,
Stevens
I didn't
said,
understand. I feel like there was no way he should have gotten waived. I know he hasn't been playing, but he should have gotten. We could have gotten something back, anything. It's again one of those situations where I feel like you didn't even try. Like he does a very specific thing. We all know what Torrey Craig does, and there's no way we couldn't got anything back for it. You just waive him. You didn't even ask, did you? You didn't even talk to anybody.
Brad Stevens said, man, they didn't get no draft capital for AC. Drummond walked for nothing. Watch this. I'm gonna get Torrey Craig free.
Yeah.
He's going to waive Torrey Craig, and I'm just going to swoop in and get him for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and we haven't even talked about this much, but like, the conclusion of the NBA trade deadline was like, it was like borderline poetic in the sense that it just became like abundantly clear that AK. Well, we talked about it earlier, but I want to come back to it. Like, AK fundamentally fumbled Nikola Vucevic today because the fact that the Warriors were that thirsty, they came back like that was like the 50-11 time that they came back to the table trying to get it done and still didn't get it done. Like AK's brain is broke, honestly, for not having Nikola Vucevic on a flight right now to San Francisco. Like, again, like there's a relationship component to this. This is like your ability to just have like the necessary negotiation sort of conversations to meet a meeting of the minds. It does not exist with that dude.
He also mentioned that he really liked how like he's appreciative of Vooch's offense and defense. That one
So like
in this economy,
like no, like he should not have put Vooch on the flight to San Francisco. They play us on Saturday at the United Center. He could have just sent him to the other locker room.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's like, thanks, Vooch. Be in the Disney locker room on Saturday. That's what should have happened. Like,
Yeah,
y'all work that out on y'all terms. I'm gonna take this second rounder and these 2 expiring contracts and say, see you later. Thank you for what you've done, but now go play in the other locker room.
the only vision he has is tunnel vision.
Sammy says, I legit feel bad for Vooch. He's stuck on this team not being able to play for wins. Steven says, Torrey going to compete for a chip with Boston. Good for him. And Megan.
free Torrey Craig.
Man, I guess we should touch on this Cali report because, in that report it's saying that what AK said in the press conference does not match what he's saying in private, like with the 30 days for playing playoff. He really and privately values getting the highest pick he can get. But if he really valued the highest pick he could get, he would have made some moves selling off Vooch and Kobe today.
Yeah.
It's just damage control. Like it's obvious, like with all of the action and inaction, that's not the case.
kind of, yeah, you know, the tone of it when you hear the words read out loud, it's very much like somebody who like somebody lost fight, but then the next day when they around their friends or something, they gotta like try to play it off like, you know, if we fight again, you know, I really would, you know, I would do. It just sounds like yeah, it's complete damage control. That's all it is.
Yeah, the actions don't match the words. It more so match the words he said in the press conference than what he's supposedly saying in private.
Yeah, and I'll just hit on that again. Like so much of this, I think I think what for sure I think the legacy profile of Arturas Karnisovas, wherever like his future may go, there's just some real interesting character choices about him that, like, if he's my friend or something, I would just say like, hey man, I think you got to work on these people skills if you're gonna keep doing this job, like, because that in of itself, right? Like, your word got to mean something. Like, even if you're going to run the Chicago Bulls, your word still got to mean something. And if your word, even in public, is so wildly off from what you say in private, again, takes two to tango. Who wants to make a deal with somebody they ain't not going to trust? Like, how? Like, we just saw the craziest trade in the history of sports, not just the NBA. I think that Luka AD trade is the craziest thing in the world. How did that get done that fast and that crazy? It's because Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka been cool forever. Like, imagine if AK was cool with somebody forever. Imagine what kind of action we would finally see with this roster. I don't know who he knows, and who knows who he knows, because it just looks like the only people he vaguely knows are the Sacramento Kings front office and the Spurs front office, because that's the only deals he's made like in the past 5 years is with them two franchises.
Man, I'm gonna go back to this question Missy asked earlier about, do you think Michael Reinsdorf cares? Because a report did come out that the Bulls ownership is not happy with the direction of the team because of the dip in attendance, and they are not happy about the amount of free tickets that are being given out.
Yeah.
So there's a level of care. It's just not the type of care that we need.
Yeah, I think you got to contextualize like Michael Reinsdorf's care, because obviously he doesn't talk very frequently. He doesn't give a lot of signals of like how he likes to move as far as being like the ownership representation, the day-to-day ownership representation of the Bulls. But I think you can at least like draw perhaps some clues from like how the whole like unraveling GarPax went down, right? That took some time. It wasn't an overnight thing. And it wasn't something where it's like he just stepped in and said, all right, GarPax y'all out. Like it was one of those things where like slowly but surely smoke signals were happening. I mean, like I tend to remember, I have to go like look this up again, but like, you know, there was reports back in the day of like Reinsdorf basically using like the Chicago All-Star game to be like the de facto interview for like GarPax's replacement, right? So I kind of look at it like, I don't know if it's caring that really is the focus. Is like, to me, like the next logical step for Michael Reinsdorf is like, what are you going to do about this? Because it's clear and plain as day that like the person in charge of the day-to-day operations of his basketball franchise is getting aired out for being completely incompetent. And he has to care about that on some level, because at some point that's going to mess with his money. He's the owner. And AK is the operator. AK's job is to operate this franchise on his behalf. The same way, if I own the McDonald's, but I didn't want to be in there flipping the burgers every day, whoever I'm going to put in charge of running that McDonald's better make my money. And that's kind of, to me, that's what really the conversation Michael Reinsdorf needs to have with AK at this point. Is like, not so much the money per se, although that might be a big part of it. The thing I would question about Michael Reinsdorf is, what are your goals and motivations for owning the Chicago Bulls for the foreseeable future? What is the purpose of this franchise existing in your ownership control, and how do you give those responsibilities to AK? That's really, I think, what the spotlight on Reinsdorf needs to grow and be more about is like, I think he has to, he doesn't have to do anything because he owns it. And like, again, I don't expect him to be vocal about it, but in an objective sense, like there should be some level of understanding between Michael Reinsdorf and Arturas Karnisovas about like, these are the expectations I have for this Bulls franchise operationally. You need to meet these expectations. And that, to me, that's the bigger question really is like, is AK continuing to meet Michael Reinsdorf's expectations? If he is, and this is what we gonna get, then we can just pack it up. Like this ain't never getting better. But if there's a possibility that there is some expectation that the AK is not meeting from Reinsdorf, like again, what are you gonna do about that? Because then that means you gotta change something, Mike, because this ain't working.
I think his expectations is make money. I mean, he got the team passed to him from Jerry, and we all know his stance. He values the White Sox more, and look at the White Sox. But Jerry made that statement before, like, it's better to finish 2 or 3. So, you keep selling that hope.
And that's why I've said that before too. Nothing's going to change until ownership changes. And we had this conversation of maybe a few weeks ago to a month ago. I said nothing's going to change until ownership changes. If you really do care, obviously you care because it's hitting your pockets. It's not because you care about taking care of the fan base that's been taking care of you for all these years, despite not really giving us too much to work with, not giving us too much to be happy about consistently. That is the only reason you're going to care, is if it's hitting your pockets. If it's hitting your pockets, then if you care enough to make some changes about it, that's where you hold your people accountable. And as Morris was speaking on earlier, you have AK doing a whole lot of nothing for 5 years. And even with like the past 3 years with the same pretty much core, like that hasn't been working. Now you're just now dealing people. And it's been 3 years of the same. So are you holding people accountable? Is it AK having his hands behind his back where he's not able to make certain calls because they don't want to spend money? Or is it just complete lack of competency? Again, like it's, for me, I think it's coming all the way from the top. And so until something changes up at the very, very top with ownership, it kind of feels like it's going to be the same thing over and over again. Yeah, you have you between like Garpax and AK, like now it seems like we were in a better position with Garpax because at least they drafted pretty good. But other than that, like how much of a difference is there between the two? It's at the top.
Yeah. Self-awareness. And it has to be Reinsdorf's self-awareness. AK's his hire.
Yeah.
If you care about changing things for the Bulls for the better, you have to take ownership and say, I did not fully qualify this guy. I didn't give him a mental health test. He's possibly mentally ill with the decisions he makes. Matter of fact, the president signed into thing about freedom of speech. He's retarded. Okay, like the guy AK is retarded. I didn't fully understand that, so now I need to do what I have to do as the owner, and I have to get rid of AK, and I have to find somebody that knows what they're doing. If you want to be smart, get rid of AK, get rid of Eversley, and give a blank check to Bob Myers.
I mean, he's just sitting there having to listen to Stephen A.
Like, it's not even that hard to fix things. Just think and accept it. Hey, I fucked up. Oh, well. Let me make this better. Because it's on him to make it better. He's the owner.
I mean, unfortunately, the only way he's going to care, because he doesn't care for the love of the game or taking care of the fans, is when his pockets are hurt, when their pockets actually feel it, sadly. It is what it is. It is what it is. So like, we can have all these ideas and notions, but it seems like at the end of the day, that's all it boils down to. And like the loyalty of the fan base, it obviously all started with the the dynasty, right? Like we're talking about the 90s. 1998 was the last time we saw a ring, a championship. And then we were lucky enough to draft a Miracle and D Rose. We had our D Rose Joakim era, which there was hope again. Other than that, like it hasn't been nothing. And the people that have the fandom that has birthed from the 90s, like we're talking about like age-wise, like that age is on its way out. Like we only have so much we can hold on to. Like there are some people, tons of fans that didn't even know that era, didn't grow up in that era, or their parents didn't even grow up in that era anymore. How much longer can you live off legacy, off of like the pride that we had from that legacy? How much longer is that going to last? Because now it's the last couple of years, we're quickly turning into like the laughing stock of the NBA. Like everybody knows what it is with the Bulls. Like it's not, sadly, it's not the same pride that was once attached to this team. It's just not it. So at what point do you take a look at yourself, take a look at your team and make some changes? Because this is not going to last too much longer. You have us, you have like this small sector of like super loyal fans still, but even we have super bad taste in our mouth. I personally don't even enjoy going to games anymore. And it's kind of sad because I'm going to a game because I have to support a friend on the 11th. But had I not been going to that, I'm not looking at tickets. I'm not looking to buy tickets anymore.
Somebody says, I've seen enough. How are the Bulls on tap cruise the new Bulls front office?
Gladly. Anybody at this point.
Like, and you bring up
go to a cell phone store earlier. Like they are way better negotiators. Like as somebody who used to manage a cell phone store, go see a cell phone rep and hire him, put him in AK's office.
You know, you bringing up the D Rose and Joakim teams, and it made me realize like that Garpax valued the shooting guard spot as much as AK values the power forward spot.
That's forever my sore spot about like that period of like if Gar Forman simply, Garpax, like both of them, they simply put in like a modicum of effort to do something other than Keith Bogans, like 40% Rip Hamilton, 40% battery Rip Hamilton, or any of the other random people that Tibbs like squeezed every drop of effort out of. Like maybe that was the thing. And then to be fair, also like, I think we all would agree, like if the Carmelo thing came through like it should have, maybe like we'd be talking differently about the legacy of the Bulls franchise.
Carmelo to this day is an asshole for that. It's like he was a money hungry asshole because you could have came and possibly won, and your legacy is just getting money.
I met him in the airport once. I told him like it was funny. It was the season. It wasn't last season. It was the season before. It was he had just retired. Like it was like a week after his retirement announcement, and I told him like, I really wanted the Bulls to sign you as a buyout, and then he just laughed. Because actually, I mean, Carmelo would have been a better power forward than Tristan Thompson or whoever we was running at that time.
I would have been a better power forward than Tristan Thompson. And I'm 5'8", 5'9". Like, oh, that's just another example of the Bulls being cheap as hell. Because why? What was the thought behind signing Tristan Thompson?
In the moment, it seemed like, oh, that could work. But then once he got on the court and you just saw how bad it was, and then it's like, oh, let's not do this again.
Should have waved his ass immediately. After that first game, no. You got to go, buddy. We could have kept Jordan Bell for all that. At least he was good at grabbing the game balls for the guys after winning shots. Local Bulls fan says, "Yeah, I think AK shows his face around the city or lives in the suburbs. I think that motherfucker dwells in the basement of the United Center, just lurking."
Nah, I don't even think that. I don't even think he steps foot in there unless he has to. He's probably just in the house trying to keep safe because he knows.
I bet, yeah, he probably just chills. Like, I bet he just be at home, like playing Call of Duty, like
Mhm.
not doing any like actual GM stuff. Like, again, building relationships, like figuring
Yoga,
out strategy.
knitting,
Yeah,
It's-
Tetris.
the problem with Seminity is they are at Summer League. They're there
just
with the
be go-
rest of the executives.
he just be going for the buffets. Listen, it's not.
Yeah. Crab legs. Yeah.
Getting steak and crab legs in Vegas.
Mhm.
I know.
The way Io looked at Tristan Thompson in that one huddle is how we all look at AK.
It's funny that we all know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I was like, let me go back to that. I gotta go now. She gave me an idea. I'm going back to that meme, but like, you just can't post a random picture. Expect people to understand it.
Oh man.
So yeah, we got the Warriors Saturday.
Yeah. With Jimmy Butler possibly. It's his first game.
I joked like it would be wonderful, like the UC they gave like a tribute video to Jimmy and Mike Dunleavy just because they got a deal done.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Jimmy chant from the fans.
They should. Like, that's the last superstar the Bulls have had, and it's a shame that that's even something that I rationalize, but it's the truth because, like, you had a dude that was like top defender, already All NBA, and you got him at such a steal of a draft pick, and I'll never understand. Like, I get it. Like, he told off Fred Hoiberg. I think you go with the All NBA dude versus Fred Hoiberg. Call me crazy, but you know.
Yeah, but that was Gar's buddy.
Yeah.
Their wives were like best friends, so
You have to do what you have to do.
I
Otherwise,
mean,
the wife's gonna be at you.
but that's like the problem started there. It's like Jimmy got traded because he called the front office out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
But I do not want to end this show on like all these negatives.
I know. I've been here in my head trying to think of what I can say.
Well, so here's like the one thing, yeah, the palate cleanser, right, is that we did finally get Modest starting. And let's hope that Modest starts again and starts forever, right? Because he's really the only thing that matters in this entire Bulls organization right now.
Right. That's why I want to go to Modest's comments after his first start.
Did you find out you were going to be starting tonight, and what was that kind of preparation process like for you?
I found out this morning. During film we had a session. So yeah, they told me I'm starting on Naz Reid. I'm approaching it the same way as every other game, so doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, you said last night that one thing that you feel like you're good at is flushing one game and just moving on to the next.
Yeah.
How do you think you did that? How did you think you did in that department tonight?
Not really well, honestly. It wasn't enough energy from me. Defensively, I was sluggish, and offensively, shots are gonna miss or make. But I didn't provide enough energy today, I believe.
Do you find out?
So that is your 20-year-old rookie, like taking ownership of he says not providing enough energy. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball well. It's like 410, but he finished with 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. I think he provided okay energy, but like I said, you want a guy that's like that, that's self-aware and is going to take ownership. And luckily, we do have him, rookie, first year. It's going to get better. That's the bright spot of the Bulls' feature going forward right now.
Yeah, and I just it's to me like if I'm running the Bulls, I am doing everything I can to continue surrounding Miles with just the best possible compliments you could have. I mean, some of that is a point guard, but also like we shouldn't have like this glut of like 8,000 guards. Like I'm not all that keen actually on Miles being a power forward. I think he is he's a wing. He's a wing, and he should be played as a wing. And I do worry about like him getting mismanaged in that way, where like, unfortunately we already saw it Patrick Williams, but it's like obviously Miles has the motor that Patrick will never have. Like, but I worry about stuff like that, where it's like, if they tell Miles like, oh, you need to bulk up like 30 pounds, like the way they did Larry back in the day, and then all of a sudden Larry's tearing muscles and stuff. Like, I think we got a solid guy in Miles right now. I just really hope this franchise doesn't screw it up with him.
Yeah, I agree that he's like a 3.
Yeah, with that handle and also the switchability he has on defense. And I've been talking about that since the Summer League, right? I wrote a piece on what he did in Summer League, and the defense that was the instant thing that popped out to me way more than the dunks. And he's been so consistent as a defender, and that was probably my biggest frustration with him not playing, is that like the Bulls suck on defense, and you don't play. Like I wasn't being hyperbolic when I wrote that piece also about like, the Bulls don't play their best defender. I truly consider Miles Buzelis to be the best defender on this Bulls roster right now. He's the only rim protector, and he's not shied away from any sort of on-ball assignment. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, he takes it and he holds his ground for the most part.
Yeah, I think it was a stat the other day that was like Modest is like 36 in the whole league in blocks, but he's like 270 something in minutes.
Yeah. I was trying to look up those stats, and like you can't even find him on a lot of stuff because his minutes are so low. But I was just trying to like do averages and stuff. Like when he finally makes the minimum, plays the minimum minutes where he is actually ranked, like the whole league's gonna start noticing what we've already seen.
Yeah, I talked about that. I tweeted about that like a month or two ago, because I realized like when I was, I'd spend like a lot of random days just going through Basketball Reference. And I looked at Miles' numbers in Basketball Reference. The block percentage he has, if he actually played enough minutes to qualify for like league ranking, like he would have been. I'll dig up the tweet and I'll post it at some point. But like at the time, like Miles would have been like top 10 in the league in block percentage, and this is a rookie. And it's like how does an organization not want to get behind that and cultivate that and really try to like ramp that up quickly again for a team that sucks at defense? The team is cheeks at defense. I can't say that enough. And I watch it over and over. And like, I don't mean to be like old man about it. Like, I do like the beautiful basketball stuff, but this is actually another indictment of Arturas as well. Like, it's been 5 seasons, and this dude always wants to talk about culture, and we're gonna teach them to win the game, and it's about the integrity of the game. When has he ever said the word defense in his press conference? When has he prioritized an actual winning defense ever? He don't care about defense. Alex Caruso was his entire defense. And
it's so much strength on a positive note
because he's stupid. He's a dummy. Like I can't sit here and pretend like he's not stupid. He is a dummy at this point. And it's like I want to be positive about the stuff we need to be positive about, but like it's like a boogeyman that just keeps coming out of the closet or whatever. It's like we should be celebrating really good stuff right now, but we can't because we got a dumb who is in his own little tunnel world.
Well,
Did you see Benny's fit for Lunar New Year?
there we go. Then he was styling. That's what the best mascot flies mascot out there.
That's a palate cleanser.
Yes.
throw Benny in. He's all we got. And Matas.
So
Yeah, so we got the Warriors Saturday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday is like the dumbest back-to-back ever because both games are at home and both games are against the Pistons.
how about that?
Like, who decided that? It's like, well, just play same team twice. I don't care. Somebody says, okay, with my henny. Where so you gotta peep the fit.
Jacket's tight. And the shoes.
Shout out Stitch God on the shoes. But yeah, into the next disappointing Arturis Corner show his decision. Go Bulls.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.